right, we're going to review very quickly on multiplying fractions with a model. So I want everybody just very quickly on their paper, do 1/4 times 2/3 using a model. Using your model. Now, I know you have 3 crayons. You only need 2 for multiplying, but in a minute when we divide, we'll have to use 3. So that's why you have 3 on your desk. Okay? So right now you're going to do 1/4 times 2/3. I'm going to let you get a little ahead, and we'll talk about them. No, you have to show me by model. You have to show me by your model. You have to show me by model. Alright, I'm going to start with the rectangle. Now, your first fraction goes vertically. So I'm going to reduce this rectangle into 4 parts. So there has to be 3 lines down through here. So it'll, sorry, my board's not working. Well, my board went way up instead of down. So I have 4 equal columns, and I'm going to shade one of those. So I'm going to take my crayon, and I'm going to shade one of those. Yes. Now, the second fraction is going to be the horizontal. So I'm going to split it into 3. So it's going to look like rows. So there's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, and I'm going to shade 2 of those. Now, to get your answer when you multiply, you're going to count how many squares are shaded by both, in this case, in mine, red and yellow. So how many squares were shaded red and yellow? 2 over a total, how many squares? 12. So I'm going to count each square, and I get 12 squares in that rectangle. Do not reduce, because we are talking about a model, okay? So we're going to leave it right like that.
I did the first one sideways and then
That's okay. As long as you make sure you're doing them opposite each other. That's fine. Okay? Okay, if you found a cooler way to do it, that's fine, but let's not talk about it, because then you're going to get other people confused, okay? Alright, here, do this one. We're going to do another one. Let's do a bigger one. 3/8 times 1/4. It's a bigger one. Okay? Alright, I'm going to now start and draw so we can solve this one. So I'm going to draw my rectangle. Drew me 3. Let's not do that. Alright. So I'm going to divide the first one vertically into 8. So I'm going to draw 7 lines down through here. I'll come back over here and cut that one in half again. Alright, so there's 8. Mine are not equal. Okay, so there's 8. I'm going to color 3 of those. So I'm just going to use the normal little marker here. So I colored 3/8 of that rectangle. Now I'm going to cut horizontally and into 4. So there's going to be 3 lines divided into 4 parts. So here's 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, 4 rows. And I'm going to shade one of those. Now, how many squares are shaded by yellow and red? 3. And how many total squares do I have? 32. So 32. You may have a question on that one. Okay, now we're going to do a whole number. So I'm going to have 1.5 times 1/4. That now means you have to make 2 rectangles to color 1.5. So there's my 2 rectangles. I'm going to cut them in half. And I'm going to shade one whole rectangle and half of the other. So this one gets shaded. So I'm going to go back and change that color so in a minute we'll see better. And you're coloring better than I am. Okay, you're coloring those squares much better than I am. Now, I'm going to go into each rectangle and cut them into 4 equal parts. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, you've got to cut them both into 4. And you're going to color 1 row out of both rectangles. Now, how many squares are colored purple and red? 3. And how many total small rectangles are in one big rectangle? 8. That's your answer. Now, you can't count total because I have 2 rectangles. But there are 8 parts in each rectangle. So the 8 is how many parts are in a rectangle. So I'm going to ask you a question. Do you have 4 parts that are colored purple and red? No. I only have 3 that are colored purple and red. Okay? Any questions on that? Everybody good on multiplying? Okay, now we're going to start dividing. Jeff, I'm going to have your parents watch the video so they know I had to call you down in class. Alright, now we're going to divide. So 1/4 divided by 2/3. Now dividing is a lot of the same, but it's a little different. Okay? You are not going to overlap your coloring on one sheet, on one rectangle. We have to draw 2 rectangles. Okay? So we're going to draw a rectangle to represent each of these numbers. Now, we're going to cut the first one into 4 parts, and we're going to color 1/4 of them. Actually, you're going to cut both of your rectangles into 4s. Nope. But you're only going to color 1/4 of the first one. Yes, only color the first one. Because they're both, we're still looking at the same conversion. So if you cut one into 4, you got to cut the other into 4. So what do you think I'm going to do when I have to cut this one horizontally by 3? I've got to cut them both by 3. So really, I haven't done anything different except when I was multiplying, I only did one rectangle and I did it on top of each other. Okay? So right now, all I'm doing is drawing 2 rectangles, doing the same thing to both. Now, on the second rectangle, I'm going to shade 2/3. So I'm going to shade 2 of these rows. So really, the only thing I've done is I've done them on 2 different rectangles instead of overlapping, but I've done the same procedure. I've cut them vertically and shaded. I cut it horizontally and shaded. Now, this second rectangle is going to tell me how many squares are in a group. So how many squares out of this rectangle are colored? 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There are 8 colored squares, correct? 8 squares makes a group. So I have to go back to my first one. How many do I have? 3. So do I have 8? So I don't have a complete group, correct? So I only have part of a group, which is my fraction. How many parts do I have? And how many do I need in each group? So my answer to my problem is 3/8. So we're going to do another one. We're going to actually do several. Okay, hold on. Let's do another one. Okay, and let it start and absorb. Okay, I need our volumes to be quiet. Cut them off if you need to. So 3/4 divided by 1/2. I want you to do the 2 rectangles and split them and shade them and stop. That's what I want you to do on your paper right now. You've got your 2 rectangles. You're going to split them, color them, and stop. The first one's going to be in the 4 and the second one's going to be in The first time you cut them is fours. The second time you cut them is in half. Alright, you should be up to where I'm at. You cut each rectangle into 4, and you shaded the first one 3 out of 4. You cut the second one into 4s. Then you go back and you're going to cut them in half horizontally, and you're going to shade the second one in a half. Then you're going to answer the question, how many squares, okay, are shaded in the second rectangle? 4. So that's how many is going to be in my group. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to circle 4 shaded squares if I can. Well, here's 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's one whole group, correct? Do I have another whole group? No. So that 1 is my whole number. But I have one complete group. And how many remaining shaded squares? Out of 4. And again, am I going to reduce right now using a model? No, I'm just going to leave it.
Charlotte Williams, come to the nurse's office.
Okay, let's look at another one. Two and a half divided by 1/4. So how many rectangles do I need to represent 2 and a half? I need 3, right? Because I have 2 complete and part of another. So I have to draw 3 rectangles for the first one. And how many do I have to draw for the second one? 1. Yes, you have to cut every rectangle in the same pieces. Yes. So I'm going to draw 3 rectangles. Actually, I'm going to have 4 rectangles total. All right, so here's my 2.5 and here's my 4th. So my first one gets broke up into halves, right? So I'm going to cut every rectangle in half. And I'm going to color 2.5 of them. So I'm going to color all of these first 2 rectangles. And I'm going to color half of the other one. Now to do my 1/4, I'm going to split each rectangle. Oh, let me change my color. Sorry, go back. Not this Friday, the following Friday. And I'm going to color 1 row of each rectangle. So there's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Which box? Actually, I'm sorry, go back. We don't need to color all those. Just that first row here. My bad. I was multiplying. I'm sorry. It's okay if you do. I mean, you'll just ignore it. You know, on the divide, I was multiplying. Now, you already split those into 4. How many groups? How many is in each group? 2. So now I'm going to go back and I'm going to circle every group of 2. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. There's 10 complete groups. So I have a 10 as a whole number. Did I have anything left over? No. So that would be 0 over 2, right? Do I need a 0 over 2? No. So really, my answer is 10 complete groups. I'm sorry he's kind of so long that we had to kind of fit him on where I have to shift that paper. Completely. Let's do one that I have some left over. I'm giving you 2 pages of work. Alright, let's try this one. 3 1/3 divided by 1/5. So how many rectangles do I need to represent 3 1/3? I need 4 of them. And how many do I need here? 1. So I need a total of 5 rectangles. Yep. So the first time I cut them, I'm going to cut them in how many pieces? 3. So I cut every rectangle into 3 pieces. I know. Now when I go back to color, I'm going to color 3 whole rectangles and 1/3 of another. So here's going to be my 1/3, and then I'm going to color all of these rectangles. Yes, but not yet. You got to color that one first. Now I'm going to go back and cut them all into horizontally 5 rows. 4 lines, yes. And I'm going to color 1 row. So that tells me I have 3 per group, right? Now, let's color 3 of those. That's 1 group, right? Here's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, I was trying to do a highlighter, but I don't think I like the highlighter as much as I like circling them. I was trying to think what was easier for you guys, but it does, doesn't it? So let's go back and change all those. Let's just circle them then. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, because you got 3 whole, you know then you're going to have 3 groups of 5, which is 15. Now, hold on. There's 15 in the first 3. Then over here I can do another group. Oh, wait. I've circled 4. So I have 16, and how many's left over? Over 3. Okay, so I was trying to look at this, see if the highlighter would be easier for you to count, but mine was bleeding on the board, so yours may look better, okay? So if you want to use a highlighter to group, that's fine. I could have just went side to side and done those, okay?